Welcome to the stream today. We are about 20 hours into a 24-hour stream, sir.
Yeah,
So
that's right. You guys have been on the grind.
I know, right? So if we, if the questions come off weird or loopy or things like that, we can't be held responsible.
It's all
Thanks
good.
for
It's all
coming in,
good.
though. Thank you.
Yeah, we really
No
appreciate
problem.
it. Hey, we were hoping to take this time to really get to know you a little bit, and so yes, we're doing our live stream. We have about 10 or 12 people out there that are following us right now, and we definitely
Oh,
record
sweet.
these and we cut these out. And we've currently hit our goal, and we're going above our goal
Oh,
for
nice. It was a
collection.
thousand, I
We
believe.
did 1250, so we got 1,250
Oh,
bucks.
nice.
We nailed it.
That's
Now it's
awesome.
just gravy on top.
Yeah. So I know we've never formally met or had conversations other than through emails and Discord.
And
And
Discord, yeah.
so yeah, I'm Adam and Abdonymous as far as
Ryan,
that.
yep, trying to me. Good to meet you.
Yeah.
Good-
Will.
Yep.
Robot Meadows.
Robot Meadows. I feel like that's what I know you as, Robot Meadows.
You know, we always go by our handles as well,
I know, it
Abdonymous
seems like
and
that.
Trienemy. So. If we can jump in today, we have a lot of interesting questions and things to talk about. One thing I was going to let you know that we did today is we made the Lego Game Boy.
Oh, I've been seeing that everywhere.
It is so cool. It has this little lenticular thing where the Nintendo logo comes down. The game actually comes out of it. And so we thought it was like a cool addition to the show to be able
Yeah.
to build this today.
So that Lego set, it's not like an actual Game Boy, right? It's just like a Lego version. Like you
Totally.
can't play a game on
No,
it, right?
unfortunately. Even though I saw
But
some
I,
people like retrofitting them or something, didn't
I
they?
think someone else already on it, and they did a mod where you can actually play, but not like it doesn't come like that from Lego.
Right. You'd have to
No.
like get a Raspberry Pi in there or something like that, or
Yeah, yeah.
whatever they're doing. Nice.
It's still super cool. I should look into that. That
Well,
sounds like the kind of thing I'd like to have here.
look at this. Look how close it looks to a real Game Boy. I
It's
mean,
like the exact size.
size, like buttons and
Is,
everything. It is.
is there like Nintendo is in on that or
They
Yeah.
had to have been. I mean, it has Nintendo written all over it.
Yeah,
They
yeah, I
they
can't
had
imagine.
to. Like,
Yeah.
it's good because it comes
Cool.
with a book too that has like a bunch of stuff about all the games and the history of
Oh,
the Game Boy.
nice,
It's cool.
nice.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump into the conversation today. So we're going to be pretty casual with this, but we'll have some good interview questions. So just love to
Yeah,
kind of.
I was hoping to have some stuff prepared, but I
Sure.
did not have time today, so
No,
it's
no,
gonna
no.
be all
That's
off the
totally
cuff.
fine. And if you
Yeah.
could just like help us understand some things, one of the things that Ryan and I were talking about the show before the show was like our inability to understand some of the musical aspects of things or composing or chip tune. And so we'd
Yeah.
love to dive into some of those kind of things. And so where we'd want to start today was just get a little bit about yourself, a little bit your background, like how'd you get into
Yeah.
Game Boy, chip tune music, a little bit of just story behind Robot Meadows.
Yeah, sure. So where do I start? Like, do I go all the way to the beginning? Well, first off, let's see. I first got into music when I was around 12 years old. Listening to Metallica. It
Nice.
was the first time that I heard music. I was like, "Whoa, what is that?" Before that, I had listened to music before, but I guess it was just whatever was on the radio or
Yeah.
stuff like that. But yeah, I listened to a Metallica song and it like hit me like I was just captivated by it, and more especially the drums. I just could not stop focusing in on the drums. And then a year later, my parents got me a drum set, and that kind of started my whole musical journey. And so I started off like that, just playing drums in rock bands from when I was 13 up till I was about 18, 19. And then from there, I decided to go to college for music. And there I learned about jazz. That was something that I had no, like zero knowledge on. I got to school wanting to be like I don't know what I wanted to be, some
Right.
kind of metal drummer. But then some of my teachers there, they sat down with me and they showed me some jazz records, and kind of the same thing happened. I fell in love with jazz, and from about 19 to about 25, 26, it was jazz 100%, 24/7, just living the life of a jazz musician. And that's what led me to where I'm at right now, which is in Montreal. I'm actually from Puerto Rico,
Oh, okay.
originally from there. And then in chasing my master's in jazz performance, I came here to Montreal about 9 years ago now, 2016.
Cool.
Right.
And I've been here ever since. And I did my master's, and that was during my master's was the first time that I got to compose a little bit. I did a performance-oriented master's where it was mostly playing my actual instrument, but there was also some composition courses and there were some composition requirements. And so through that was the first time that I got in touch, I guess, with composing. Like tried it for the first time, and I actually ended up really, really liking it. So that's something that I kind of like was doing in the background as I was doing my jazz thing. And then that kind of just kept going until 2020. Then in 2020,
Right. Yep.
like something
Oh
Life
happened.
yeah, for
happened.
sure.
Yeah.
Something happened in 2020, and yeah, suddenly there were no real gigs, no real, there weren't shows or anything
Yeah.
like that. I mean, people were doing like kind of live shows in their houses and that kind of stuff. Uh, but yeah, that just kind of sort of fell off. So suddenly I was just there in my house and was like, well, maybe now is the perfect time to get more into the composing thing. I really liked doing that during my masters. I thought it was a lot of fun. But then the question was, well, what do I compose? Like, where do
Yeah.
I go now? And then it just suddenly hit me. Well, I guess sort of parallel to this story is my video game story,
Oh.
but not a whole lot there. I just grew up playing video games, and
Sure.
you know, throughout all my life, I've always loved them.
Yeah.
And so it kind of just clicked. I was like, well, maybe I'll give video game music a try. And I signed up for some Udemy course or something like that about video game music.
Hmm.
Um, and it had a bunch of different sections. It had a section where, oh, this you'll write like a little town theme, like a peaceful town theme. And then another section was like, yo, you write like a character theme.
Yeah.
And then there was another one where you would try to write like layering music, or like you write it in a way so that we've all seen it where you have this music, but then when your character like enters a zone, then maybe the music changes or that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they had a section about chiptune, like write like a retro 8-bit kind of style track. And I was like, okay, sure. Like I've heard chiptune before, but that's about it because I played old video games, right? I had a Game
Sure.
Boy growing up.
Yeah.
Um, but I ended up really liking it. It turned out to be my favorite module, across all of those of the course. That 8-bit chiptune one really stuck with me. I just had a ton of fun doing it. And then from there, I was like, actually, I kind of want to know more about the chiptune thing. I don't know, something about it just really grabbed me. Um, so I started researching who are the people that make chiptune music, what's out there, and I ended up discovering I've discovered a bunch of artists, but two of them really, really grabbed my attention. And those are Disaster Piece and Danimal Cannon. So those two
Okay.
artists, um, they don't maybe not necessarily make chiptune nowadays, but at least at some point in their career, they did a lot of chiptune stuff. And so I kind of delved into their music. And then from there, it was like the first one was metal, the second one was jazz. This was the third
Okay.
Nice.
kind of like big revolution in my music life, and it was chiptune. So suddenly I was just listening to chiptune everywhere, all the time, just getting really deep in it. And then eventually it started getting to the point where it's like, okay, so now I want to make chiptune. I want to write this music. Um, and I was doing it using just modern software tools in my computer. But anytime I listened to these artists that I liked, I just something was not getting there. I would listen to my music. I mean, of course, they were also much better than I was at the time,
Sure.
but there was like some sounds and some things that just I wasn't able to replicate using my computer. So then I started investigating like how were these records made, and then that's kind of what led me to, oh, okay, so people use the actual old consoles to make the music. It's not like reproductions. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's
Sure.
that there's this world out here where people are making like actual Game Boy music, actual Nintendo music. And so then I just, again, it was COVID. I didn't have that much to do.
Right.
So I said like, well, why not? So I ordered or bought a Game Boy off of eBay or something. No, off of Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah.
And then I got like really deep in it. And
So
then yeah,
that's awesome. I'm curious to hear more about that, what you just described about using the hardware. So what is
yeah,
that? Do you have like more than just a Game Boy now, or do you have multiples, or how does that plug into your equipment, or what does that look like for you to make music,
yeah.
chiptune music?
So it's a bit different from for like the writing music for Game Boy games.
Sure.
So how I was first introduced to chiptune was to write my original music, just my songs, not
Yeah.
meant for any video game or anything like that. And then for that, yeah, there is um people use various different programs. One really a popular one for the Game Boy is called LSDJ. It's a Little Sound DJ,
Okay.
and it's an actual, I guess, program that you can put in a cartridge, and then you put that in your Game Boy, and
Oh,
then you
cool.
can actually make the music on your actual Game Boy itself.
Nice.
Um, and then it's funny because yeah, it's cheap to music, but since you're not really making it thinking of being in a game, you don't really like when you write for a game, you kind of have to consider the, I guess, memory capabilities, or just,
Right.
there also has to be a game, so your
Yeah.
music can be too wild,
Yeah.
even if you're within the confines of the Game Boy. But in this program, you're just making the music, so you're free to use all of the Game Boy's power for it, and so you can get some really wild music going. There's some stuff out there that's pretty wild. But yeah, you use it. You that specific software, let's DJ, you can load it up into your actual Game Boy, and then you can just write the music there. And so that it turned out to be really popular with musicians because it was also really easy to carry with you. So you could take it for gigs. So you could do a chip tune, or you could do a gig at a club and just bust out your Game Boy and then just kind of be playing your songs there with the Game Boy. So in that aspect,
That's cool.
it it kind of blew up in a this was a little bit before my time. I'm talking maybe like early 2000s. There was this kind of chiptune revival era where everyone was just bringing their Game Boys to clubs and jamming with them there. And then on that same kind of idea, there's other softwares that you can use to make music using your Super Nintendo, make music using your Nintendo, Sega Saturn, Sega Genesis. Um, The thing is, even if you can't, like the Game Boy one, you can make it on the actual Game Boy itself, but other programs are more, you use them on your computer, but the files that you'll end up with, you can actually load those files and put them in these consoles. So some people really like that, that they can listen to this Nintendo music on an actual Nintendo, or Super
Yeah.
Nintendo music on an actual Super Nintendo.
We
That's
are
kind of where I got started in my chiptune journey, is
That's
getting to
awesome.
that side of chiptune, which is like people making their original music using the actual consoles.
I think
So cool.
that's a big draw to where we what we have. I love Game Boy. It has been like it was the first console when I was a young kid, and it was the only one that only my parents didn't let me have necessarily systems and things like that, and so it has like a deep meaning in my heart. And so as I've gone, it's been great to see that revival as we've gone forward. It's interesting that you talked about bringing like the Game Boy to like performances and things. Do you do that still today? Is that still a thing
Or
that
like, dude, does anyone do that? Or they just
People,
they
people,
edit? Oh,
no,
do they?
people definitely still do that
Cool.
today. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, yeah. There's whole bands that have uh, uh just cropped out the appeared using these kind of things, either Game Boys or other hardware.
Yeah.
But it's definitely still a thing going on today. Yeah.
well that's
I don't personally do it.
Sure.
I definitely got into it more to write music
Yeah.
not super interested in the performance
Right.
aspect. At least right now, that
Yeah.
might change in the future. We'll see. But it's definitely yeah, still going on.
No, that's pretty awesome. You and I and Ryan have been working together over this past year, and so we really appreciate you jumping in. We've had this idea for our game Skull Bob's Adventures, and it started over about 15 years ago
Yeah.
or so for us, where we
That's
wanted
wild.
we wanted to build a game. But we didn't think Game Boy at the time. We were doing it and other things, but we didn't have the right tools and resources to do that. So we kind of pivoted and made some animations, and we had another friend that worked with us in terms of making some of the music, and we did some animations at that point. We had put it on hiatus for a number of years, and we came back to it recently because we felt it was accessible to make a Game Boy game. Now we were able to put some efforts into that, and we've been doing it. There's been a little bit of a couple months here where we've been focused on some other things as we've been going, but we're still moving forward with where we're at. And so it's been really a fun process for us to be able to create the assets and different pieces and then marry it to the music that you've been helping produce. If you're okay with it, I do have one of your songs right here that I would like to play for a second, and maybe you could kind of talk us through after, like, well, what your thought
Yeah,
process is and what that might look like for you. All right.
yeah, yeah. Go for it.
All
Can,
right.
will he be? Will
Yeah.
you be able to hear it through the
You
thing?
should be.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Okay.
You hearing this?
I am not hearing anything.
Okay, so it may not be going through the system, so we can hear it out on the stream. What we were playing is the initial intro of
I
our.
can I can just bring up the stream on my end, and I should be able to hear it there.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
I think that should work.
Maybe
I mean,
even.
it must work because I can hear you guys. Like I can hear
That's
the
true.
audio on my computer.
Well, and I think what's happening is how our setup is it pushes out our audio from our microphones, but maybe not from the computer out to the stream, and so that's probably one of the areas that we're at.
And
Okay.
it's in the Discord too.
It
I
is in the
guess.
Discord. It's the one
Yeah.
we're doing the first version of it. Let's see here. It is.
Yeah, I have the stream on,
Okay.
so I should be able to.
Cool.
All right. It's probably a little lagged from where we're at exactly here, so it might be a little off, and it might. I don't know if you'll hit a commercial or pre-rolls or anything like that at this point, but we'll give it a second. Is it on pre-roll or any ads?
I don't see any ads. No,
All right.
it's
We're gonna
rolling.
play the intro then. Here we go. All right, that I was awesome.
Let it finish rolling if he hasn't. There we go.
I think he knows his.
That's true. He does his own music.
So everyone just was listening to that on stream. We got some comments out there.
Awesome.
They were saying
Yeah.
that they had some really awesome. Could you walk us through a little bit of your thought process or your approach to like building something?
Yeah.
Like, number one, thank you. Like, it gives me
Yeah,
chills. I love
amazing.
it. It's so awesome to
Great job.
hear that. The first time we
appreciate
saw it, it's amazing, man.
Let me see, because it's been a while since I wrote this song. I know the biggest thing was our initial conversation, where what really stood out to me was the first thing Amanda mentioned was the double dragon kind of feel, right? So I
Right.
was
Hmm.
kind of in that kind of headspace of um what are they called? These games where you like
Like fighter
walk
games.
through
Like a
the
beat
stuff.
'em
It's
up
like
or
beat 'em
something.
up. Yeah, beat 'em
There we
up games.
go.
I was in that kind of headspace.
Yeah.
Like okay, beat 'em ups. I listened to a few OSTs from beat 'em ups. Um, and so I was definitely going for something energetic. I wanted not like dramatic boss fight
Sure.
mode, but kind of with propulsion, right? So you would be like kind of like nodding your head. That was definitely what was going on there.
Yeah.
You
Um,
succeeded in that, sir.
yeah. And then the other thing about that was because to me the track has like two main sections, and
Hmm.
it's the first one is more in like that kind of like okay grooving along kind of vibe, and then there's the second part which is a bit more a sci-fi kind of ish,
Yeah.
Hmm.
a bit more spacey, a bit more floaty, and that actually didn't come from me naturally. That was after our discussion.
Right.
Yeah.
My first version of the track did have a second part, because that I definitely know I wanted a contrasting section to that.
Yeah.
You have the first section that's all about the groove and kind of the energy, and then to kind of break that up because even if it's really groovy and nice, if it just keeps going like that, I think it would end up getting boring.
Yeah.
So to not have that, I want something that contrasts it. And so if we have something kind of groovy and with a lot going on, then the easiest thing would be to have something a bit more floaty, kind of opens up a little bit. But my first version of that was a bit more like heroic, kind of Zelda.
Mm,
I'm not sure if you guys remember, but
that's right.
Yeah,
I
it,
do
it
for
was it
remember.
sure.
was more like that. It was more like yeah, I was in that kind of headspace, like Zelda heroic, going in the open world kind of thing, which was cool. But then throughout discussions, like maybe not necessarily
Sure.
um, what what would fit the best with the
Yeah.
For
game. So
sure.
then you guys told me maybe it could be a bit more like sci-fi kind of
Yeah.
sci-fi, a bit more dark maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I said, yeah, sure. So then I came up with the current second section, and then that um, seems to be okay.
I
Yeah,
know it's
totally.
it's
No, it's
great.
great. Yeah,
Uh,
we love that one. It's amazing.
So
and
when
yeah,
you compose music like that is I mean,
I'm gonna be right back.
Ryan and I right now I have like not we're not trained in composing and music and such. And so it's hard for us to understand like what you go through, specifically like the idea
mhm.
of of composing for a Game Boy system. So if we could like just talk a little bit about like what are the differences, and like I know there's like four tracks and ways
Yeah,
that it gets kind of created, but it sounds like there's different things happening on there. But if you could help us understand what that looks like, we'd love to learn how we do that. And then when we go into the Game Boy, we are able to put those tracks in there, and that is as much as we know how to do in terms of doing anything with the music. Would
yeah,
just love that workflow, that process that you go through in that.
yeah. Yeah. Writing for Game Boy is a little bit challenging because, as you said, there's a really strict limit of four. It's basically four sounds. There can only be ever four sounds happening at the same time. Um, so what you do, like that immediately really limits you because if you listen to anything nowadays, it will most likely have more than like if you play a piano chord, that already has like three or four notes, and this is one instrument. So it's
Yeah,
like, okay, that's it, you're done. But if you listen to modern music, where you have like maybe some vocals, maybe a guitar, piano, not maybe not piano, but it's a bass and drums, like a typical band right there. Just the guitar can play more than one note at the same time, so it gets um, limited. The limitation comes up really quickly. So what you try to do is find little little you just try and fit stuff as much as you can, like any little corner where you can sneak something in, is basically what I try to do at least. But at first I don't really think about the Game Boy limitations at all. I'm just trying to write the song.
sure.
So I just sit down. I usually do this off the computer. I just sit down at the piano and jam for a little bit, and maybe come up with some chords that I like, or maybe a melody that I like. And for this, even before this, like I said earlier, I would maybe listen to some references or
Yeah.
something close to this style just to kind of get an idea. If I'm not like familiar with it,
Sure.
I'll listen to something maybe to give me a little bit of a reference. Though I don't want to listen to it too much because then, I just might end up copying it or repeating it.
Yeah.
It's I want to listen to it enough that I have like a vague memory of how it sounds like, and then kind of go from there because then it can be like my own version of it.
That sounds exactly
Um,
like when I do art for stuff. It's like I want to have references and I want to have like sort of a thing, but I don't want to look at it too much because then I'm going to just start
yeah.
drawing it like that is, and that's
Yeah,
that's
it's
bad.
exactly like that. Like you need the reference it to have some sort of idea of
Yeah.
where to begin. But if you don't want to like listen to it so much, or I guess also see it so much
Yeah.
that that's what comes out.
Yep.
So I heard someone saying that once. It's like I want to have like a vague memory, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, that's
It's a
kind of what
perfect
it's
way to
like.
describe it. Yeah.
Um, yeah. Then once I have that like initial idea. It could be maybe a couple chords or maybe a little melody line that I like. I usually go jump in the computer and then just make a structure of what I want. It's not the final structure, it might change, but it helps for me to have some sort of idea like, okay, so maybe there's gonna be an intro and then maybe a first section, maybe a verse. Then maybe that verse will repeat again, but something about it will be different. I just
Yeah.
make something up. It doesn't have to be fancy. It's just to kind of get the whole thing running off the ground. The final product, it might change. Like maybe there was a verse here, but in the end there isn't. It got cut or something else. But sometimes I just really just throw random things. It's
Yeah.
like okay, verse, intro, whatever. It doesn't matter that much. It's just really to get it's to beat that empty page syndrome,
Yeah.
right? Like you guess here it's the computer, but you
Yeah.
open up a project and it's just empty, and it's like okay, well, what now? It helps me a lot to have some kind of loose structure. And then after that, I just start filling it out. Once I have an initial idea, I can start playing around with that, making little sections, and then it all kind of just grows from there. And at that point, I start considering the actual Game Boy limitations. So I know, okay, so
Right.
if I want to have some chords here, well, the Game Boy can't really play chords. It can if I use all of the channels, but then I can only play chords. So is that
Mm.
what I want to only
Right.
play chords? So then it becomes all these little decisions start coming into play. So then I say, well, maybe I don't want that. I want the chord and like a melody going there. So I have to find a way to make that work. And a lot of the times there are compromises, but there's a lot of stuff that you can get away with to show the intention that you had. So even if
Yeah.
it's not like a piano chord, you will still get, oh, okay, this is meant to be a chord. Like I get that. So a lot of it is that it's just finding little you run up to these decisions and then you kind of have to decide, well, do I want the melody? Do I want the bass to be here? Do I want the drums to be doing stuff here? And then you kind of depending on what the priority is, you kind of fill out your track like that. And something I like to do is you run into this limitation often where it's like if I could only have one more sound or like a couple more sounds, then I
Yep.
could have everything
Yep.
that I want. But what I like to do is I split it. So maybe what I'll do is I'll repeat the idea twice, and then the first time with half of what I wanted, and then the second time with the other half. And so that way,
Oh.
to me, it's like I'm still having everything that I want. It's just not happening all at the same time,
Yeah.
but it's still there. Like, I don't know, maybe that's something I wanted to have like a guitar solo happening in the middle of the melody or something like that. Well, maybe I can't do all of that, but I can have the melody first and then the guitar solo after.
So
So
being able to
you
blend
you
it.
you you come up with your own ways. Everyone kind of has their own like little techniques of getting the most out of the Game Boy.
That feels like
Um,
such a Game Boy thing because when I do pixel art, I'm like, oh my god, I'm scraping for the pixels that I
yeah,
have,
it's
and you're like,
you're all in
oh,
the same boat.
I
We're all
only
in
I
the
only
same
have
boat.
so many. I only have so much to work with. Yeah, it's
We're
like it
all in the
doesn't
same
matter.
boat,
Yep.
in the same boat when working with Game Boy stuff. It's like the limitations on there, and it's wild when you think about it. Like, because outside of the Game Boy, it's there's so much.
Yeah,
We're working with so the constraints are just so hardcore.
But
yeah,
that's part of the
Um,
fun of it, I think, too.
right,
Like, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. It's
these
kind of
challenges to get like what is the core of it.
right,
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And yeah, uh, musicians face the exact same thing. We're working with these extreme limitations, but we want to write the best music possible. So we really I like it because it's really intentional. Like every note that you place, it has
right.
to be really well thought out of because you don't have too many. You know, you don't have a
Sure.
lot to work with. Whereas like with live music or outside of that, you can just play. You can just have hundreds of sounds going up at once if you want. But
Yeah.
here you have to be extremely, extremely um, considerate of every note that you play. So I really like that aspect of it. It's like when you write a Game Boy, so you have to be 100% aware of how every note is interacting with each other. So I think in a way that really deepens your relationship with music.
That's really well
So
said.
true.
As you share certain songs and things that you've composed, could you kind of explain, what we're seeing as the cursor or the track goes through the different?
Yeah, we were watching sort of the video of the line going down and hitting all the
Yeah,
different things. Like what exact is that? How you're building it? Are you adding the notes as it goes through? Is it like
yeah. I mean, I
HTML?
can pull it up. I'm
Yeah,
not
that
sure
would
if
be
you guys
cool.
can pull it up on your
If
end,
if
and
you're able to, if you could screen share, it would show on the stream as well, if that makes sense.
yeah, let me see here.
Yeah, because we're kind of like, I have no idea what's going on kind of from that lens. We can
Yeah,
do
yeah.
all the artwork and the programming and those pieces, but when it comes down to that, it's something that feels a little foreign.
Well, and it seems so different from how you would do normal, or
Yeah,
how
For
normal
sure.
oh,
music
here it is.
looks.
I'm just trying to find where the Zoom share screen thing is.
Let's see. I don't even
Okay,
know.
show me. Oh, it's right. Oh my God, it's like
Green
the
one.
first, the button in the center. It's like
The bright green
The
one.
green one.
Um, okay. All right, you can let me know if you can
Yeah,
see it.
we can see
Okay.
it.
Yep.
This is great.
Okay, cool. So, let me go here. So that's the actual software with the track.
Oh, cool.
And then I'll come here also, and let me. I'll open my demo also.
Cool. So yeah, so this is Logic Pro.
Yeah, this is a modern. It's called DAW. What is it? Digital Audio Workstation. It's just a modern program to make music, right? So here in Logic, you can make, like Billie Eilish made her records in Logic, right? It's used for anything.
Cool.
Um, okay, so I'm not, if I play it, does it,
Yeah,
will you
we should
guys hear it?
we
I
should hear it.
think. Let's
Let's
Can you
try.
guys hear that? Yeah.
No, we're both
Nope, we can't hear it.
on both sides. It's funny. It's like we can hear each other, but we can't hear.
But not the, yeah.
But we can see it, which is
Yeah, you can
awesome.
see it. So that should be enough. Well, basically first here in Logic Pro, I was talking earlier about how I do my little structure, and you can actually see it here in the top. I'm not sure if you can read that, but
Yeah.
it's an intro and then
Intro. Yep.
section A, and there's some stuff around. So that's kind of what I'm doing. Um, and then you can't hear this, but I have at the top it says piano.
Okay.
This is the most basic version of the song, like what I first came up with, and it's just some piano chords.
Yeah.
Um, you can see here that if I or maybe you can see here it's just three notes. It's just blocks of notes like bum bum bum. Um, and then from there I kind of start building the whole thing out. And then once I have this ready, I believe I sent you guys a demo, and the demo was this.
Yes.
Yep.
But basically here in Logic Pro, it works a bit more like I guess how you would traditionally think of music. You just
Sure.
it goes from left to right, and you're just kind of like I'm able to just play piano. Like I can just put it to record and just play the parts in. So it just functions a bit more with how um, let's say a more regular person would understand like how music
Yeah.
is done,
Yes.
right? Like
Right. Yeah, exactly.
you go into the studio, you press record, and you play your notes in.
Yep.
So I do that for the track, but already at this point I'm thinking of all the Game Boy limitations in mind. So you can see here that there's only four things happening, right? That's because I know that okay, I can't put more than four because if if there is, then I'm gonna have to figure out something to to make it work because it won't just automatically work.
Right.
Um, yeah, but once I have this done, I basically go here into Huge Tracker, which is the software that you actually use for to write the Game Boy music. And then I basically kind of do a transcription, right? I just the stuff that I've written here, I just pass it over to here. Let me just find where I can place you guys here. And then that's basically what you have here. Um, it's kind of hard to describe, but it's what's happening is the music is going from top to bottom, and you're just punching in. Here are the notes.
Okay.
That first column is the notes. The second column is the instrument, so it just determines what sound the notes will have. And then this third column is the effect. So there's some effects that you can use to vary the
Hmm.
sound even more. So this one E is cutting the notes. So instead of them sounding like long, they sound like little cut. Uh, the four just determines the intensity, right? So if it were three, it would sound even more cut. If it's longer, then it sounds a bit. Uh, if the number is bigger, then it sounds a bit longer. Um, and then yeah, it just when you play the song, it goes from top to bottom, and it we have here on this corner, on the left corner, different patterns, and then all the patterns together make up the song. So when you're seeing the video, you're just seeing the program running through all the different patterns, and you can see the patterns have more or less the same things, right? They have the notes, they have the instruments, and they have different effects that do different things. I mentioned one cutting the notes. There's some for volume also to have the notes playing either softer or louder. Um, this eight one is the panning, so it will pan the notes. The Game Boy can do panning. It's hard panning, so it's either completely on the left or completely on the right, or in the center. But you can do that to get kind of fake reverby kind of sounds. So you can control that with a command. You can do pitch stuff so that you can do like pitch bends up and down. Arpeg.
Were these all things on the original Game Boy? Like that would be something that original Game Boy composers could have done with the
Yeah,
software? Okay, cool.
yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Not using this program, you would have to like program it,
Into the
by
cartridge. Right.
assembly
Assembly.
into the actual um,
That's cool.
game that you were working with.
Yeah.
Another option was making your own program. So that's something some people did back in the day. They would have their own drivers and their own software to make their either their games or the company that they were working for.
Right.
Um, but yeah, this is all doing stuff that the Game Boy is capable of doing. Like you cannot do anything in this program that the Game Boy cannot
Yeah.
do. So everything that you can do here, you can also do like you were always the Game Boy was always able to do it. And this program is actually not as how do I put this? It's not as capable as it could be. There's some limitations that are not coming from the Game Boy. They're coming from the program because the program wants it to make it really easy to integrate with the game.
I see.
So older Game Boy games, not all of them, but some of them had stuff that you cannot do in Huge Tracker. Not because the Game Boy can't do it, it's just the program itself can't do it. Um, so yeah, there's Game Boy music out there that's even more I don't want to say complicated, but more expressive is a good word to put it. Expressive than what you can do in a Huge Tracker because you're not using this program. You're able to use either another program that might have more capabilities, or if you're just writing it in assembly, you can just manipulate the actual Game Boy chip to do what it is that you want it to do. So Huge Tracker is powerful, but it's not. It has some extra limitations on it because it's really meant to be easy to use. So I guess there's a trade-off there. It's easy to just grab what you make there and put it in the Game Boy and it just works. But the trade-off is that you lose a little bit of the expressiveness that you can have if you make more complicated stuff.
Right.
It's I mean, what you've been able to accomplish with that has been,
Yeah, it's
very emotional and
yeah.
connecting. And so I'd say like you
Thank you.
you wield it very well, and I think that's been something that it's impressive. So as you talk through this, it's things that I don't think I could really conceive. You've had this background, this journey that you've taken since you've been 12. Hearing Metallica for the first time and knowing how to put these sounds together. And so, I mean,
Yeah.
it's been that helped me. I don't know if
Yeah.
you, Ryan, but
Oh,
like
100%. It's always fun to hear the backstory on all of that, and see some of the back end work that goes into this, and it's always nice to when you hear somebody talk about their profession and you can link it to your profession. You sort of go like, oh my god, we have a lot of the same
Yeah,
frustrations and a
it's
lot of
not
the
as
fun, like trying
yeah,
to
it's
get
not as
across the same
different.
emotions. And yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Especially like we were saying earlier, working on Game Boy stuff, it's like everyone is in the struggle together because it's rough. It's like, what? You can't have more than how many colors is it? It's like
Yeah,
not a whole lot,
4.
right? Like, yeah, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh man, characters, you're like 16 pixels. That's what you got to make your character. Every,
Yeah,
like you said,
yeah,
every pixel means something when that's all you
yeah.
have.
And it makes you think, right, of these old games like the Oracle Zelda games and stuff like that, or the
Right.
Pokemon games. Like, man, how were they able
Oh god.
to make it all fit in there?
and at that time doing it in like things that were not as maybe intuitive from like
Oh
a
god.
Yeah,
musician's lens.
right,
And
that's
Jesus.
GB Studio, yeah.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
sure. Well, I'm curious as you kind of continue this journey forward. Are you going to stay in that chip tune kind of composing? Is that like a big passion of yours, or is that like grow into
Just
something
one
else?
of
Or,
one of another parts of things you want to do
yeah,
in
like
the
what's your
future.
It's a good question, and so it's one that I've asked myself a lot. I'm having a really great time right now, and just right now because of the boom in people making Game Boy Studio games,
Yeah.
um, there's an active demand for people to write music. It's kind of funny because if you look at all of like the game like just the game industry, the composer position is a really saturated one. There's just a whole lot of composers. Um, Way more than there are games being made. It's kind of
Right.
a running inside joke in the composer community. Like if you're on Twitter or someone makes a post like, "Oh, I'm looking for a coder or an artist for my game," like the first response will be, I'm not either of those things, but do you need a musician?"
Right.
Like, or someone will post their trailer like, "Oh, here's our game, from here's our Kickstarter. Um, we have all these things in our game. We got this person to write the music for our game. Like look forward to it." And then the comment will be like, "Do you need a musician for it?" It's like what? It's like it's it's kind of yeah, it's just a joke in the
Yeah.
composer community.
no?
But just joke that has some basis in reality. Yeah, there are a lot of people that want to compose. Um, but then in this kind of like micro niche scene that is first chiptune kind of related stuff, but then also just actual Game Boy games, like games that you can put in an actual Game Boy cartridge. There is a complete opposite. There's no composers. There's
Right.
very few, right? It's like Beat Scribe, myself, a couple of other people, and that's it.
Mm,
And there's just we cannot keep up with the demand. It's like there's way too many
right.
people um, making Game Boy games, right? And GB Studio keeps getting more and more powerful, right? More and more new
Yep.
features. We're in like version 5, I think, right now,
Yeah,
Yep.
it's growing.
and people are starting to get really good at it, right? They're like
Yeah.
making some really good games.
So we had a question come in from the chat. There was what video game OST is your favorite?
Oh, that's an easy one. It's Chrono Cross,
Oh,
JRPG.
No,
Um,
nice.
People, everyone loves Chrono Trigger, and
Right.
that's a goated OST as well. But my favorite is Chrono Cross. I actually played it first, and then I played Chrono Trigger after.
Oh, okay, nice. I can see
But
that.
I grew up playing JRPGs. That was my thing. So
heck
a
yeah.
lot of my video game influences come from there. Final Fantasy, Chrono Cross, um, Nobuo Ematsu, Yasunori Mitsuda. Yeah, those are my dudes.
That's
Nice.
So I was actually listening to some Chrono Cross earlier,
oh nice.
earlier this
That was it
morning.
today. Hey,
Yeah,
can
yeah,
you
yeah.
stop sharing the screen for a second? I'd love to just like see
Oh
your
yeah, yeah.
face for a second. Because like it's awesome to kind of hear this passion for it, and it sounds like it's not dying. It's just getting bigger.
Yeah.
It's a big
Yeah, yeah.
industry.
So like I was mentioning, there's this push to make Game Boy games. So I'm really in it.
Yeah.
I'm really having a great time. I wouldn't say it's it's not there to where I can like quit my day job just
Sure,
yet.
yeah,
But it's definitely something to consider if it keeps going because at some point because it's I mean, I'm 35, and I would imagine most people making GB Studio games are kind of like around that,
Right.
people that grew up maybe with the Game Boy.
sure.
Nostalgia
I,
with
c-
it. Yeah.
I can't really say what will happen as we grow older, and there's like a new generation that maybe didn't grow up with the Game Boy, right? They grew up with a DS or something like that. I don't know if those people will be interested in making Game Boy games. So I'm not 100% sure how long will it go on for. But right now, the games are being made, so I'm really happy to be here and just
Well,
not only making music for games, which is I guess always kind of like a dream that I had, but just also just the fact that I'm making music.
Yeah.
It like I mentioned earlier, making this music, I feel like it's really I don't know, open up a new dimension of what music means to me. Just because of the fact that you have to be so intentional, you have to be so
Right.
thoughtful of every note that you place. Like you were saying, like every pixel matters. So
Yeah.
it's that kind of thing has really made like the music that I make for these games. It's really special to me because it's not like you can just go and just like bang it out. It's like you really have to give it some thought. Like even if you're listening to like a simple little 15-second theme, it's like well you really have to think about it. You have to make even some 15-second loop will have some decisions where it's like well
Yeah.
I can only do this or I can only do that. I can't have them both. So which one of them is it gonna be? So yeah, yeah, I'm in it as long as people are making Game Boy
heck
games.
yeah. Well,
I'll write music for them.
we're
Hell yeah.
excited to continue
Yeah.
that with you. So we're getting close to the end of time here. We've a couple more minutes, but I was always curious, like, where's Robot Meadows come from? What's that mean to you?
The name. Yeah.
To be honest, the name doesn't really mean a lot. I needed a name. I needed a name.
You
I was
know,
like, I
sometimes
was
that's just how it
searching.
works.
I was searching for something, and I knew I wanted that kind of like balance between like mechanical and kind of more naturey
Yeah.
aspect of it. And then I finally landed on that combination of words, and it's like, you know what? It's either this or I'm gonna be another 10 years searching for a name. So
With a bunch of
we might as
numbers at
well.
the end or something like that. And
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So there's not a whole lot of meaning behind the name, to be honest. I can tell you that it was inspired by a song.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
there's a band called Horse the Band, which is
Okay.
kind of fun name, and they actually they're not really a chiptune band, but they have a keyboardist in their band, and the keyboard player uses a lot of like chiptune kind of sounds. So when they were coming up, they would be called Nintendo Core. They're
Oh,
like a
Nice.
they're kind of like a rock punk band or something like that. But they use these sounds sometimes.
That's cool.
But anyways, they have a song called Kangarooster Meadows. It's like, and that's where the Meadows part came from. I don't know why I like that name, and then I just
Yeah,
stuck something else in front of it.
No, it
And
sounds great. I love it.
nice.
We say your name often. We've
Yeah,
talked about you on the stream many a times as we
totally.
go,
I've seen
and
some of those streams, yeah.
Yeah, nice,
I've used
awesome.
them for
nice.
reference.
That's cool.
Fantastic. Well, is there anything that you would give as advice to those that want to pursue like any kind of chiptune composing or want to work with a composer that would help them know how to best like work with you? For instance, working with us, what's helpful versus what's maybe like, nah, that doesn't help me understand how to like get to that point of producing, the music or whatnot. Like, is there any kind of last parting thoughts on that side?
Let's see. The best advice I could have, look, there's kind of different things here. So is it advice for people that want to write music, or is it advice for people that want to work
Yeah,
with devs or work to make music for a game together? So I'll kind of,
yeah,
do both.
Mhm.
cool.
For music, the number one advice I could give is you have to listen to music. You're probably not listening to enough music. It's really what keeps you your well, right, from running dry is
Yeah,
you have to be constantly exposing yourself to music that you like, music that you don't know, music that you maybe even that you don't like, but it's like people like this music and I don't. So why is that? What is it about it that I don't like, or what is it about it that people like? Um, yeah, I would say that's the number one problem that most new composers tend to have is that it's easy to when you write music to just kind of like only listen to the music that you write, or like your little maybe like your little references or stuff like that. So
mm,
I think it's really really important that you're always like it has to be active. It's part
yeah,
of your composing schedule, let's say.
yeah,
um because after that there's the technique, and all of that can come with practice, right? It takes time to learn, just like it is learning how to draw, right? It
yeah,
takes time, but all the technique is there. You can go to YouTube and you can learn any style, there's hundreds of tutorials on how to do anything that you can. Actually, there's not that many on Game Boy Music. It's something I'm thinking about. It's like
Hey.
maybe it's time that we get some, because
yeah.
there's
Exactly.
some, but they're like 5 years old and
Right. Yeah.
fairly
Exactly.
outdated at this point.
Totally.
But all of that can come with time. But it if you don't have like that music in your mind, it even if you have a bunch of technique, it's really hard to write something that will impact
Yeah.
anyone. And the way that you have that music in your mind, at least to me, is just to listen to music. Just
Yeah.
like be able, like the more that you listen to it, the easier it is to just hear it in your mind. So
Yeah.
then when you guys ask, like, can we do maybe something a bit more sci-fi here? It's like, okay, yeah, I might not, you know, be a huge sci-fi person, but I know I've heard some sci-fi music
Yeah.
in my life at some point or
Right.
another, so I can make something work here.
Yeah.
And then maybe even if it's not the final idea, it can maybe okay, maybe something like this, and then from there it can be start a conversation of like, well, maybe it can change. But if you don't
Yeah.
have that first thought, it's hard to get anything, even if you have technique, even if you have practice. So
So
yeah,
true.
that's for up and coming or people that want to compose is
Heck
what I would
yeah.
say.
That's amazing.
From
That's
Um,
awesome.
from that
and
developer
then
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, for working with developers, it's I think communication is the big thing here. It's really about being open and being as clear as possible, not being afraid to ask questions. It's in the sense of the music that's the music process, right? So like you say maybe we want it like this, and then I can say okay, yeah, sure, or that bouncing off of ideas, but also just in general life, just being like, hey, I'm feeling a bit tired, so I might not be able to have it right now. I'll be working on it a little bit, this kind of stuff.
Right.
Sure, that's important.
It's I think it's super, super important just to have that open and clear line of communication because it makes everything easier.
Yeah.
Um, the technical aspect, like if you might not know how to express what you want to express, I think that is something that can be overcome with open and clear communication, right? Because then I can hear what you're saying, like, or take your idea and be like, okay, maybe I don't understand 100%, but I have enough that maybe I can maybe do three small ideas and then show those to you and then be
Right.
like, okay, maybe one of these is kind of what you were thinking of. And then from there, we can kind of keep going. Um, but if you're not open to the communication, right? If you're just like, well, the dev is saying something, but I'm just gonna do what I want,
Mm,
then it's kind of it starts getting like you need to be able to, okay, yeah, when I write music, I do want to have my vision, but I want that vision to also include what you
yeah.
see for it, right?
It's like a
Right.
I don't want it
shared
to be just my vision, like 100%.
Yeah.
building it together. You know,
Right.
I appreciate the advice and like being able to help direct. Like we have things that we hear in our head, but we don't understand how those come together in the way that you kind of experience and your expertise and the things that you say. I think come natural in a certain way, and your engagement with music over the time that you've experienced it, where we listened to music but we were never able to
Sure.
like pick out those little parts and pieces
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
it that like
Right.
why does that
Right.
make me feel like that.
Yeah.
And so
Exactly.
Yeah.
does it
Yeah.
help
That's a
like
big thing. Yeah.
Right.
describing those feelings and those kind of things, I think is what I'm hearing you say, and that way that when you can communicate that, you together can kind of build something.
Yeah, because it's one
Yeah.
big project you're working on, right? You know, it's
Yeah.
not individual
Yeah.
little things. It all comes together as one big piece of art in the end, and you want that to
Yeah.
all like
Exactly.
flow together smoothly.
Well, and
Yeah.
also I think there's the idea that I don't like the idea of just like maybe tacking something on at the end that's music. Like it's part
Right.
of the whole process, and as
Yeah.
you interweave it together, it comes out with something that you couldn't have ever created if you didn't collaborate.
Yeah,
Yeah. Exactly.
And so
it's amazing.
well, William, this has been an awesome experience.
Yeah.
You've like opened my
Yeah. It's been
mind
super
to
fun.
a lot of things here, and so we really appreciate you being able to hang out on the show. We're gonna continue working together, and so we'll be touching base on some next steps
Yeah.
as we
Yeah.
as
We've
we move
done
into it.
3 tracks so far.
Yeah.
So
Right.
we have a few more. We have
Got
a
a
few
few
more
more.
left to go.
Amazing.
Well, well, excited to do that, and we'll be touching base, and then you know, just one last question that I had was, as you do, you know, you do chiptune music. I'm personally right now interested, like, if I didn't want a Game Boy game one, but like a chiptune music, that you it sounds like you're in that space too, to like build some things that just have a different vibe, because then you could do a little bit more, but have that chiptune sound to it is what it
Right.
sounds like.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
I'm sort of split in these two chiptune worlds. I make my own original music, and then I have this Game Boy thing kind of like just suddenly
Yeah.
took off, and it's like, oh, okay, now I have to write
Now I
music
do
for a
Game
lot
Boy
of
games. No, apparently.
So it's actually this year it's been a challenge of finding the balance because
Right,
I do want to
sure.
write. I'm working on a new like a full album,
Ooh, I'm
and
excited.
I was hoping to have it ready by this year, but it's like it's not happening this
Yeah.
year. But I want to have it ready for next year. So now I'm just trying to find that balance between
Yeah.
okay, I have these ongoing commissions, but also my personal project.
Totally.
Well,
Um,
that's
but it's fun. It's fun. It's all there's still a lot of music left to write.
Yes.
So
well,
Exactly.
and that's what we were hoping to say is like as we step out of the call, is there any last thing that you would want anybody to go and check out of your music,
yeah,
or
like
anything
is it a
that
social media thing or something that they could
yeah,
connect with
I
you with.
have all my stuff is on Bandcamp.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
That's where I have my first album. So I made one already, and this album
Nice.
is made on a Game Boy. So it's all
Okay,
all the
cool.
music that you hear except the last track. Um, but all these 7 tracks before it are all done on one Game Boy. Um, and the new album that I'm writing will be my second album. But aside from that, I have some already published OSTs from Game Boy games,
Cool.
so you can go and check those out. And a couple of other just loose songs here and there that I made
Yeah.
that didn't
Fantastic.
have a proper home, so I just put
Yeah.
them there. So that's my Bandcamp, just robotmeadows.bandcamp.
We got it in the
Bandcamp.
chat. It's one of our followers here has put that out there. Do you is there a name for this new upcoming track that you're working on, or this album?
Not yet. It's
Not yet.
it's still the first album is called Star Cycles.
Cool.
I'm a space fan. I really
Nice.
enjoy reading about space and
Heck yeah.
galaxies and how
That's
they function
awesome.
and stuff like that. So that's what inspired that first album. The second one will be inspired a lot more by um my home childhood
Yeah.
stuff. It's more of a nostalgia thing.
Cool.
Yeah, the places that I grew up in, the pets that I had when I was
Oh,
a kid, that kind of stuff. So it'll be a bit more homey in a sense.
that's
Nice.
awesome.
And there's been good progress on it, so I'm really hoping to have it done for next year.
Amazing.
Yeah. Well, thank you, William. It has been a pleasure to meet you and
Yeah.
have this conversation and
Oh,
share
it's been
in
awesome.
our
Yeah,
day.
super
So,
fun.
yeah, for
Great.
sure. Well, thanks for hanging out with us today, and we will touch base soon. And so, thanks for helping support, and everyone in the
Yeah.
stream has been saying awesome job. They're
Totally.
excited about some of these pieces that we talked about. So, thank you so much, and
Sweet.
we'll see
All
you
right,
in
guys.
Discord, man. Thank you.
Bye.
We'll see you, man.
You have
Good night.
just a couple more hours
Yeah,
left.
we're
You
like three. We're like 3 more
3
hours.
hours
And that's
more.
it. We're 21
guys
hours
got
through.
this. You guys got this.
Thank you.
All right.
Awesome.
See you guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.